Welcome everybody to the 9th episode of the Den Discussions. I'm joined by head women's cross-country track and field coach Damian Smith, along with alumni now, Lana Wilson, and Kaylee. And Kaylee, you're going to have to help me with your last name. She's a current student athlete right now. So Kaylee, how do you pronounce your last name?
Gianoni.
Kaylee Gianoni. All right. Thank you all three for joining. Before we get started, I need to throw out a little plug for our sponsor, the Putt Cup. The Putt Cup improves your short game. It's a full-size coffee mug. You can see right there. It's got a flat edge surface. And if you drink a cup of coffee and you lay it on the ground and putt into it, improves your short game. So sink a cup or drink a cup and then sink a putt. Damian, I don't know if you golf, but we're going to have to get one of these over to you so you can improve that game.
I'm going to hit some balls, and I can hit them far, but they veer off to the right for some reason.
All right, we'll get right into it. Damian, why don't we start with you? Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your time at RCC?
Well, I'm Damian Smith, and I am the head cross-country and track and field coach for the women's program. And then I also oversee the strength and conditioning program and the sprints for the men's team. I started at RCC 2005, and that's crazy because I wasn't really considered myself as being a coach yet. I had did some volunteering work at North High School and at UNLV right before. So I had some experience, but I was kind of just really getting my foot in the door of coaching, and I was actually trying to finish up school and do strength and conditioning, and I was volunteering at UCR at the time. And I would just happen to be doing some training because I was still training for trying to, be a sponsored athlete and so forth. And I was out training on the track, and Coach Barbie, who was the women's head coach at that time, came up to me and he said, "Hey, we don't have a sprint coach right now, so do you want to coach?" I was like, "Well, let me go talk to my mentor," and which was Coach Leathers, the late Coach Leathers, who was a great coach at North High School, had lots of championships over there. I'll just say that. And so I talked to him, and he said, "Hey, it's a good move. Go do it." Because I was going to go volunteer with him, and he said, "No, go do that." And so went over to that program, came over to RCC, and it was, when I first got there, it was just a little different because the athletes before me, they had a coach before them that they really believed in. And so it was kind of just hard just transitioning in because they didn't want to believe what I was coaching. And so I had to try to get them to buy in. Some did, some didn't. Those who didn't, eventually when McCarron came in, he came in a semester after me. I came in the fall, he came in the spring, and they was on the men's program. He ended up getting rid of those guys, but it was all better for the team because we wanted to try to create a specific culture that we were looking for. So they didn't fit into that culture. And so that's what happened. Once that happened, things just started rolling really fast. And so I came in 2005, and we had our first state championship in 2008, and we almost had it in 2007. We just had a little hiccup in one of the event areas, but hey, that's life. And so it took me 5 years. Coach Barbie decided to go to a university. He wanted to get some Division I experience, and that's always been his passion. And so he left the door open, and I was hired to be the women's head coach in the fall of 2010. And so I think I was the youngest head track and field coach in the CCCAA. And so I became the head coach. We had a plan. We hired me and Coach McCarron. We hired Coach Robinson. We hired Coach Wilson, he was at Upland. He was a guru in the distances, and Coach Wilson can coach every unbelievable coach. And Coach Robinson was, new coach, but he just, when we talked to him, we could understand he really understood the sport, the science of the sport, and he was really passionate. And so that just really lifted the program a lot. And so on the cross country side, me and Coach Wilson talked. We said, "Hey, we want to start winning some conference championships. We haven't had one ever, and so that's something that we want to do." And Coach Orange Coach ruled the cross country in our conference for 18 years. They won state 18 years in a row. And then in 2000, I want to say 2014, if I'm not mistaken, was our first conference championship. And then we went 4 in a row. We never looked back. And so that's kind of how cross country went. And then track, once we got their balls rolling in track, that our first year we came in hitting hard, or it was our 2011 season, and we won conference every year since 2011. And you could touch on some of the podium appearances that we did during the state meet and all that, but my time here has been wonderful. I love the sport of mentoring kids. I don't want to call them kids, they're young adults when they come here, but I love mentoring young adults, and it's just watching them succeed and move on to that next level and achieve their dreams and have fun while they're here is something that I just, that's what I love about it.
Well, we have 2 perfect examples of young adults today that have really bought into that culture that you've created, and you've done such a great job in doing so. One being, an alumni in Lana Wilson, who's a specialist. Lana, again, thanks for joining us today. I know you have a busy 4-year university schedule now, so why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your time at RCC and what it's meant for you to be a Tiger.
Well, I'm Lana Wilson. Hi, I'm Lana Wilson. I came to RCC straight out of high school, so fall of 2018. Going into RCC, I was really, as far as sprinting, like I knew I was good, but I was like, I'm good, I'm fast, but I don't know how I'm gonna do at this next level, And then like going into RCC, I really didn't know much about like I wouldn't say about my body, but it's like I didn't really know how I sprint. I didn't know my sprinting technique. I mean, I just kind of went with the flow in high school. Like I was fast, that kept me going. And then when I got to RCC, Coach Smith, he really helped me figure out what worked for me. And he helped me learn a lot about my sprinting type, the way, what worked for me, basically my mechanics and everything. He brushed up on all of that. And coming out of RCC, the improvement was tremendous, honestly. Like Coach Smith, he's one of those coaches, like if you get a chance to train with Coach Smith, take full advantage of it, because I would say he's a student of the sport. He's sprint guru. So being at RCC, I loved it. I love the training style. Now I'm at West Texas A&M here in Texas, and I'm majoring in biology now. So everything so far has been good, exciting. A little different transferring during COVID season, but so far so good.
Can imagine the challenges, but if anybody can handle it, a student athlete like you can. So congrats on the transfer, and we'll get into some of those successes a little bit later. But Kaylee, I want to introduce you again and get into you introducing yourself and why you chose RCC and what it's meant for you to be a Tiger as well.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Gianoni. I came out of high school, so graduated 2018, went straight to JUCO. I was a 300-meter hurdle specialist. It was actually kind of sad that even running fast times that I did, I didn't get any offers from big schools. So JUCO it was. I got an orientation. I just fell in love with the program. I had a choice between volleyball or track, and I chose track because it's one of those sports where it's on you and it's a delayed gratification that I love. And I will train so hard, put in my work every single day. And that's what this program thrives on, is putting in that hard work, showing up to practice. And when you get to practice, there is no goofing around. Everybody is there for a specific reason. Everybody wants to win. And that's the culture that both Coach Smith and Coach McCarron are raising throughout all their programs. RCC has also given me a lot of positive opportunities in the classroom. There's professors that are teaching because they want to teach, not just at high school where they're there. It's a very enlightening experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, I love what I do, and I love being a part of a team that likes to win.
Well, we're glad you're a part of our program too, Kaylee, and you loved it so much you want to stick around for another year. I know that, if we had a season, you'd probably be out already, but Your story to me is very interesting because last year you placed third in the OEC multi-championships in the HEP. And that was the first year you had ever competed in a heptathlon in your entire life. I want you to go through kind of how that happened, how you prepared, and some of those events that you don't normally participate in, you did very well in. So I want to understand how you prepared for those multi-championships, and why you're so interested in it now.
Well, Coach Smith was talking to me about the week before the HEP. He said, no, why don't you just try it? You never know if you could be good at it or not. And, ever since I got to RCC my freshman year, the coaches were after me just to try it. So I tried it, did 3 days of training, and it honestly made me fall in love with the sport again. I mean, I was doing the 400-meter hurdle, and, sometimes you just get stuck in a rut with, why am I not progressing? And I just went out there and competed like the athlete I am. Just go out and have fun. Sometimes that's all you need, is just to go out and have fun and to get that love back. And I would say the best feeling in the world is knowing that you're getting better. And that's what the HEP is all about, is getting better each day. Technique, sprinting, just you get a little taste of everything in track. And that's what I like. I like a little bit of everything in track. So it's super fun, and it works for my work ethic. You can't just hop into HEP and be like 50-50. You have to go in all the way, and I will eat, sleep, and train for it no matter what.
Well, when seasons are rolling, we always see you out on the track. There are a lot of kids out there consistently, and you're definitely one of them. We see you out there all the time. And in that OEC multi-championships, you scored just over 3,100 points. You placed first in the 800 meter, second in the 100-meter hurdles, second in shot put, and then second in the 200 meters. So that was very, very impressive to see. What was the most difficult event in that heptathlon, and what was the easiest for you?
Javelin was, and it still is. That is something that is so technical, and you have to have mobility. It's not one of those things that you can just go out and wing it. I had to do a stand throw, so I couldn't do much damage in it, but shot put is my favorite. I absolutely love being so powerful and seeing that shot just fly. That's like my hands down most favorite event.
Coach Robinson is jumping up and down for joy right now. He hears you say that, that's for sure.
Yes, he is.
And Kaylee, you obviously tried something new. You're a hurdle specialist, like you mentioned. And Lana, you're a sprint specialist. You really honed in on your craft. You were part of when you were at RCC, you were part of a 400 meter relay that won the 2019 state championship individual run. Then you were third place in the 200 meter at the state championship. You ran an 11.98 at the state championship in the 100 meter. Talk about those experiences at RCC. How is the training different at RCC than is it the 4-year level, or is it any different at all?
So at RCC, when I started seeing my progression, it was like really exciting for me because, as Kaylee said, there's nothing better than the feeling of knowing that you're progressing. And like when Coach Smith, he started coming to me with these crazy new techniques, these crazy new training styles, and I was like, oh, what is this? Like when he was pulling me on the bungees and stuff, I was feeling like I was about to fall. It was all new to me, but like I started seeing that progression right at the end of the season, right where I needed to see it. And that was one of the best feelings ever. And like after that, it gave me, I already had the drive, but just seeing the progression right there, I was like, oh yeah, this is like, it's game time. It was a great experience. When my time started dropping, they started dropping like constantly. And I would say the training styles are different, definitely. I wouldn't say it would be harder or less harder, but it's all about the different training styles and how you adapt to the training style. So the training style is a bit different here, but I think I'm adapting pretty well.
I bet you are. I bet you're doing very well over there. And Damian, I want to kind of get into those training styles too. I mean, both of these athletes have mentioned, unique training styles. And I know that's something that you really try to hone in on. And I think if, correct me if I'm wrong, but you time it perfectly leading up to, one of the biggest meets on the schedule, the OEC championships. These kids are ready to go and they're ready to win, and nothing, you don't settle for anything less. I want to understand your methods to that process. How do you train them properly to reach their peak, their peak speed when they really need to and when it really matters?
First of all, I want to say that right in front of me, you have two of the hardest working girls on the team. So, and I will say that anywhere they go, they're going to be the hardest working girls on the track. Again, like you say, you see Kaylee out on the track. Kaylee doesn't miss. If we don't pull her out of the weight room or we don't pull her off the track, she'll be out there all day long. Now, Lana, she'll leave the track, but she won't do it until she gets all her work done. And Lana's going to get out there. She's going to make sure it's done and it's done correctly. She's not going to complain to me. She might complain to her friends, but she's not going to complain to me. She's going to go out there and go get it done. And both of them are really receptive to the training styles that myself and all the other coaches have. And with Kaylee doing the javelin, which she says is her most difficult event, Coach McCarron has really done a very good job showing her how to, get those techniques down. And he her doing a stand throw at the multis, that was the best way that he felt that she would be successful. And so that thing is just find a way for them to be successful. Every athlete is different, so you can't be a general coach for me. And so I'm not going to say, oh, you have to run this, you have to run that. When I work with Lana, she came in and put the hard work in, and that she's going to always get output. But what I would say about my training would be that you making them confident throughout the year, during the whether it's doing training, whether it's doing meets, when okay, this is what, give them some feedback. Hey, this is what this is looking like off in practice. Like if we're running 60s and we run a fly, fly 30, and I could tell Lana, I say, hey, 3.2 between 30 and 60 meters, and this translates to this, and she's gonna understand that, and that's gonna make her confident, and her eyes are gonna light up, and it's gonna make her, just with her training, using those kind of type of things to make them confident is one of the biggest secrets. I won't say it's a secret. Thanks to me, being able to make them run fast at the right time. And so as far as the scientific part, as far, the methods that I use, we all coaches, we kind of do the same thing because we all work together. I would say being progressive, building a base at the beginning of the year, and then working off of that base and continue to what I like to say is capacity. So like everything has a capacity. You want to build, a lot of people think about capacity, they think about, oh, they got to run a whole lot, they got to run long. I don't believe that you have to do that. I believe that you can have a sprint capacity. And so if I'm running 3 times, 30 meters, that's going to be that be my first workout of the year. We doing speed from the beginning. And then, maybe 2 weeks later, I'm doing 260. Then I'm going to be doing 3 times 60. And then we'll go, we'll continue to build on that in our jumps. Power, everything that we do is power, explosive, triple extension, all of those things that that you need in track and field, not just endurance. I can get like Lana is off in practice. She can run 250, she can run 180s, and she could still be one of the fastest 400-meter girls on the team without having to do that. I can go into some more detail if you want.
No, that's perfect. I mean, and obviously what you're doing, Damian, is working because you've truly built a machine. You know, since you took over in 2010, you guys have been a consistent state championship competitor. You know, most recently you placed second, the runner-up at the 2019 state championship. You're probably on your way to win a state championship this past year. You know, that might be a little bit biased me saying it because you know I obviously am a Tiger homer, but you know you have the squad to do it. You know, you have 9 consecutive OEC championships in track and field, 4 OEC championships in the last 6 years. You've coached 46 individual All-Americans, 31 All-American relays. I mean, the list goes on and on and on with the success for, you know, women's cross-country track and field. When you got hired as the head coach at RCC, did you expect all this success to come your way?
For me, I'm pretty confident in what I try to accomplish, and anything I put my mind to, I try to make. Everybody gets out of here, matriculates to a university. Number 2, when I was given the job, I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this a successful team. We're going to get a podium every year. We're going to at least try to get on the podium every year. Obviously, I think we didn't get on the podium 2 times since 2000. As far as the success and believing that I could, did I expect it? I would say, yeah. Your student, you know, almost pretty much everybody on our coaching staff is students of the sport, and so we work very hard, and the team is successful.
It shows. I mean, you guys are out there putting in the work day in and day out, you know, and, you know, going back to these student athletes, Lana and Kaylee, they're a perfect example of it. Alana, I'll start with you. This next question, how did it feel to contend for a state title every single year? Not a lot of student athletes and teams have that opportunity to know that they're going to be in the running for a state title. How did it feel especially as a 2-year student athlete?
It was a great feeling, honestly. Every time we're coming up, well, actually ever since the beginning of each season, like we knew we could possibly get there. We could possibly be in the running for a state title. It was all about us like being confident within ourselves. Of course, when we began the seasons and began training, we knew if we had that goal in sight, we could definitely accomplish it. And as long as our team, we were all on the same page and we all did individually what we needed to do, we definitely knew it was possible. And just that alone, that was very exciting for each and every one of us.
And Kaylee, same question. How does it still feel to know that you're going to compete for a state title?
It feels great. A large reason also why I did the HEP was our girls team needed a HEP in that state meet, and I was gonna make sure that I was gonna secure myself that spot just to give us a win, because I mean, seeing these girls every single day on the track working as hard as possible, especially in like 100+ degree heat, it just makes you want it more. And you know, not just for yourself but for your family. I'm out there every single day with them. They're my family.
It's a great answer. I love that. And
I want to say, Coach, and I want to say, Nico, that you know, that was a sacrifice for her. You know, we had a girl decide to try the long jump. Alana actually tried the long jump. She didn't like it, but and we want to just stay focused on the 100 so that we can stay healthy. And then, but we did have another girl, Destiny, that she loved it, and both of them were good at it. But Destiny decided that she was going to do it, and so same with Kaylee. Kaylee said, "I'm going to take that sacrifice for the team, and I'm going to get to the state meet. I'm going to score some points for the team." And that plan was, and we had a great team coming in. and obviously COVID hit, but it's a little bit of a stinger because we knew we had a great shot at probably our best shot any years to win the state championship.
And that's what you need, sacrifice on a team for your family, like Kaylee said, in order to, reach the ultimate height. So that's part of the culture that you guys build, day in and day out, and it shows. At that state championship meet, there's some good athletes there. They're obviously top competitors and, top marks. And, some great athletes are noticed there. Damian, you have experience with a lot of those great athletes. When I say names like Ashley Marshall and Justin Times, I mean, what comes to mind with those Olympic athletes that ran through RCC and competed?
I'll start with Justin. Justin was one of those guys. Justin played football, and so we were training. We was doing our fall training. He was finished football practice, but I think he was just he wasn't playing that. He was redshirting, but he was walking through the grass field, and I said, "Hey, you guys run track?" I was just looking for some more sprinters. I was like, "Hey, you guys run track?" And he was like, "Yeah, I ran." And Justin is from Arizona. I said, what was your times? And so he told me he ran like 21:4, 21:49, and 10:6. If you come out and come run track, I'll make you a state champion in a 200 meters. And 10:69 is a decent time. It's pretty good time in in Arizona, but in Southern California, I don't know what he was going to be able to do in 100. He was tall, and so normally taller runners have a problem coming out the blocks, and they're not as good in 100. But I felt that the 200 was going to be his event, and so Justin decided to go ahead and come out. I didn't think he was going to do it, and I always look up the times too, just to make sure that they are all right. Sometimes, especially football players, they can exaggerate their time, but they was right, and I said, okay, we're going to do some things with them. And Justin came out and just trusted the training, and man, I started progressing. And just as his freshman year, I think he went from 21:49 in high school to 20:61, and qualified for the USA junior national meet, where he race against any high school elite athlete and all freshmen, any university, college, anywhere. So all university, I mean, you talking about University of Florida, you talking about University, Texas A&M and all those teams. And and he went out there and won. He won the national championship out there, earned a spot to go to Columbia and represent the USA team. And he's just one of those guys that hard work paid off. He knew what he liked. I had to learn who he was and what helped him. He was one of those guys that he didn't have to run over 400 meters. He ran 300 meters, but he had to feel like he had to run 300 meters in practice in order for him to run good. So his favorite workouts were like 150s in my life, which he would like to run them full turns so we can really work on his 200 meter turn. He needed that, and he needed 300s in his life. And he felt like if he had two things, he was going to run fast. And so that's what I did. I said, hey, let's play to what's going to make you confident. And so we did that. We made him confident in that. And that was just his freshman year. So his second year, we came back, we talked about it. We say, okay, listen, we're going to work on your start. Now we're going to try to get that 100 meter time down, because he ran 10:4, which is decent. I said, let's try to get that 100 meter time down some more. And we're going to work on your start. And we're going to work on this. So we worked on this his freshman year, and then worked on something else his sophomore year. And man, he listened again. Like, he was one of those guys that I told him, I said at the beginning of the season, I said, hey, if you listen and we become a partnership, you're going to run fast. And he did that. He would call me up, hey, coach, how's it going? I just want to see how your day is going. All right, it's going good, Justin. And so we had that type of relationship. And he ended up running 10:1, 10:18. 10:18, he had the record until Tony broke it this previous year. But he ran 10:18 and 20:42, which earned, like, he was the most. And ended up going over to USC. Had a great time over at UC. I think he ran 10 flat and I think he ran 20.2 over there, and he runs for HSI, which is under Coach John Smith. I don't know if you know about the great HSI back in the day. We had Maurice Green, John Drummond, Otto Bowden. We're like the elite of the elite athletes. Like if you race HSI, you know you were in for trouble. And so he's running under John Smith now, and I expect to see some big things for him coming up. And that's Justin. When we talk about Ashley, man, Ashley, she is just like, she's like the silent storm. She's so quiet, and it's like she's like the quiet mouse. But then when she gets on the track, she's like a giant. And I started training Ashley. She came to one of my hold, and she was 13 years old, and she looked pretty good. She ran about 13 seconds, and she looked pretty good at 13. I said, hey, her dad said, good athlete. And so she was in the 8th grade, and then her 9th grade year, she ended up running all the way down to 12.2. And she continued to do private training with me all career. And she was at Rancho Verde. She had another great coach over there, Coach Drescher, who's now a timer for VS Athletics. She ended up running 11, and then she went on to Davis, and she ran pretty fast at Davis. I don't want to say she wasn't very happy at Davis, just because she felt like she wasn't. When her career at Davis was over, she decided to come over and train with me, so she can try, to work on her pro career. And Trinidad, and her dad is from Barbados, and so she decided she wanted to run for Barbados, and we was just going to train for the Barbados Championships. I want to say 11.2, 11.21, consistently 11.3, and she won the national record there in the 100 meters. And then she did that 2 years in a row, and we was really trying to make the Olympic squad, and she came in, so we wanted to work on her start, issues with her start, and we decided to do indoor, and she made the world championship. She ran faster than she ever ran in indoor, running like, I think she ran 7.2, which is pretty fast. And she was on the things we were looking at, she was on a road to run about 10.9, but she decided at one point to just go ahead and give up, hang the shoes up for a little while, focus on her relationship with God. And so that's what she decided to do. She said she'll come back in due time. We've talked about it a few times, but she's just such a sweetheart, but she just was a beast on the track. She was one of those girls just listen. She did everything you told her to do, and she worked very hard. She would get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. We had practice at 8 o'clock. Ruling workouts, and so she was dedicated, and just a fine athlete.
When you're on that Damian Smith workout plan, you can't miss a minute. And both of these girls are smiling. Nope, you can't miss a minute. So, and when they stick to the plan and they do it, as they're supposed to in order to be successful, then they end up at four-year universities. And obviously we've mentioned multiple times with the Lana and Kaylee eventually being there. So Damian, I want to know from your perspective, when these girls do follow, or young men, when they do follow, your workout plans, your set structure within your program, and they transfer to those four-year universities to not only compete at the next level, but pursue a higher education, how does that make you feel as a head coach?
That's the greatest feeling in the world. That's what you're here for. You want to see them go and transfer. I want you to enjoy your career here at RCC while you're with me, have a great college experience, and then move on. Go. When Alana told me, when I knew, Lana had the option of being able to stay for another year, and she wanted to. She could, it kind of hurt her to go, but it made no sense for her to stay another year. And I was like, hey, do what you got to do, move on. You know, I love to have you, but at the same time, you know, make sure you get that education and go get the degree. And so that's what she's doing. She's just pursuing that degree, and all the athletes that come through here, you know, because once she had that degree, athletics will be long gone at one point in your life. Me, you know, athletics is gone for me as far as my competition years, but you know, you get that degree and you get to, you know, be in a career field, work somewhere where you're happy. You know what I mean? And so being in a career that makes you happy, and that's the goal. And then go on and move and help out the next team that you go to on a university level. You know, go and show them that, hey, when I come from RCC, I'm prepared, I'm ready to go. Career after that, you know, God bless. That's great if you have a career after that.
Damian, I'd be hard pressed to think that you can't still compete. I saw some videos of you running recently and bodybuilding. I mean, you're ready to get back out on that track. I know it. I could tell in your smile, the way you talk about the sport still.
And run a little bit. I mean, I thought about masters a little bit. I have some friends that I have actually one really good friend that runs masters and try to get me out there, but that's some other things I have going on. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, briefly talk about, you know, your experience as a student athlete. Obviously, you know, you competed at a high level in high school. I mean, you're a state champion. You broke multiple records in various events. You transferred to Baylor. You won a conference title, and then you were a 96 Olympic qualifier. Talk about that experience and how that shaped you into, you know, the coach you are today and the man you are today.
So I'll tell you a little. I can start with a little of my background. I come from a family that, you know, they're full of pretty much athletes. My older brother, who's a big athlete, he played everything. He played baseball, football, basketball. He ran track, and so he got me into it. And I ended up going to, you know, Waco. I was good as I was coming up and just getting better. When I ended up going to, I had a great high school coach. I would compare him to Coach Leathers down here in California. And he'd had a lot of successful people come through there as well. And so he just did a great job with me, and I believed in what he was doing. And I did win the state championship in the 400 meters, but I actually was number 3 in the nation in the 400 meters at that time. But I was number 1 in the nation in the 100, 200 meters. And just like Kaylee, we had a great team. We had the number 1 football one off in the nation as well. And so that means we had other 100 meter guys that could win. And so when you start going to district championships and regionals, they only take 1 and 2. If you didn't get first or second, you can't move on. And so we had a guy that could run 10.3. I ran 10.1. So we got a guy that could run 10.3. We had a guy that could run, 2 other guys that could run 10.5, but they couldn't go up to the 4. The 10.3 guy could go up to the 2. You only can compete in the events. And so myself, I did the 400 meters, the 4x1, and the 4x4. And so that was my 3 running events. And so I made a sacrifice and I ran up to the 4 because I couldn't do that. And so I ended up getting a state championship out of it in the 400 meters. Although my love was with the 100 meters, but I want to make sure that we won a state, try to win a state championship. We fell a little bit short. We did win district, and then we won regionals, and then just fell a little bit short on the state. Went on to Baylor. Great Coach Hart. I mean, what can you say about Coach Hart? Like, he's the best. He's a 400 meter guru. He's the best coach in the world. He was actually named in 2009 the World Coach of the Year, and he has more accolades like that. I mean, he coached Michael Johnson. He coached Sonia Richards. Both of them. He coached Jeremy Warner, another Olympic champion. Michael Johnson obviously was a world record holder in the 400 meters and the 200 meters, and Sonia Richards was American record still today up in the 400 meters. And so I had a great coach with her. And then, but the style was different, and I had to try to, in high school I ran the 400 meters with speed. I just used my speed to beat everybody. And then when I got to Baylor, I had to run it for real because everybody was. And so I had to learn actually how to run the 400 meters, and that's where I got a lot of my training from. hard work. And like what I would do, like especially in high school, I would jump the fence sometimes when we didn't have practice. I would go jump the fence like Kaylee would do. Go jump the fence and go get some reps in. All my friends, they were on our relay team. They were very competitive, so we all worked really hard. I would be off my front yard doing plyometrics when I didn't even know what plyometrics were. And so as far as it, shaping me, is just hard work, grit. I worked for everything because I wanted to be the best. I was one of those weird dudes. I'll be honest. I had all these stopwatches. Somehow I got a box of stopwatches, and so every week I would hit the stopwatch and I wouldn't look at it, but I kind of counted my head a little bit and I'll stop it. And whatever it landed on, I said, I'm running that time. 10-1 one time, I said, hey, I'm going to run that time. Or if it's 400 meters, if it's 46, I'm going to run that time. And so I was one of those dudes that, I would do that and then I would run the time. It was just crazy. And I wanted it more than anybody. And so with me qualifying for the 96 Olympics, I actually qualified with the 10-1 that I ran in high school. And then I came back and my freshman year at Baylor ran 10:30, which also at that time qualified me for the Olympic trials. The unfortunate thing is that I was running on a relay first leg, and I think I felt the best that I ever felt, the fastest I've ever felt before. I probably was, I never so fast, and I ended up getting injured, hamstring injury. It was 2 weeks before a conference, so I didn't get to compete in a conference that year. And then it also hurt my chances with going to actually compete at the Olympic trial. So, things like that happen. Injuries happen as part of the sport. Just the way you come back from it. And so I came back from it, and we decided that I was going to focus on the 400. And that next year I did an awesome job. What Coach Hart had me do over the summer to get that injury back together. We worked hard together. He had people put me in a walking class, which I thought was weird. And I was like, okay, this is going to work, I guess. And you know it, I never felt my hamstring. I never had a hamstring problem since. And so, those things kind of led up to things that Coach Hart taught me when I was at Baylor. I still talk to my high school coach, but then I went and got my degree. Biggest things that helped me with coaching is just really learning the body, learning everything about the body that I can to the best of the best out of them. Now, I did do some competing. I was sponsored by a local guy. I was sponsored by a local company. I wasn't sponsored by a company or anything like that, but I took some years off of track, and I came back and I moved to Vegas, and I worked with Damian. He was one of those HSI guys. He was known as the fastest starter in the world. And he also ended up coaching Tyson Gay for a while, which was a Olympic champion. And so I was training with him, and he September to January was amazing. And I ended up qualifying for 400 meters in the USA Indoor Championships. In the world. And using those experiences with, John Drummond really taught me a lot, just more than just about the training aspect, but a lot about making, decisions and sticking to what you want to do, you know what I mean? And making sacrifices as well. And so he taught me a lot, and that's kind of helped me with my career as a coach. I do have some great mentors still now. Coach Holiday over at University of Florida, Coach Curtis Taylor at University of Oregon, and Coach Carroll at USC. Also, I want to say Coach Bev Kearney she was a big University of Texas coach a long time ago, where national championships like it was nothing. And a lot of her admin, and the crazy thing is, like, she would she had to do it with new athletes almost every year, because every time she got a girl, they would go pro after a year. Some of them went pro after indoor. So she might have had a girl half a year, and she was doing a great job like that. And she didn't, and the thing with Babe Kearney, and this is why I want to say this, she didn't, she would give me workouts that she could do, but she really talked about life more. She really talked about, being that coach that, that's there for your students, and a coach that thinks about, the outcome, think all the way down the line. And she's just a great mentor.
Well, it sounds like you had, some great leadership and great philosophies too. I mean, wanting it more, working hard and working, well beyond, the next person in order to get to that next level, and it's important. And you mentioned too in that speech, the educational piece, and I'm curious from the student athletes, kind of as a closing statement, Kaylee, we'll start with you. How have you been, balancing, athletics and, the educational piece while, still being away from the track with, coronavirus and the pandemic still going on? And what's one piece of advice that you would give an incoming student athlete in order to succeed at RCC or anywhere?
I think it's been easier for me, just because I have so many events, that I have the accessibility of school just right here on my laptop. I mean, of course, I miss going to class and whatnot, but it really gives you a sense of perception of where your motivation is. And if you are not if you don't have any inspiration or motivation or a goal to hop online, do your schoolwork, then go train, I mean, it exposes the weaknesses, that we kind of forget about in everyday life. And COVID has highlighted that. And even though it is horrible what's going on right now, it has given me an opportunity to hone in on what's my why. You always have to have a why and whatever you do in life. So that's my piece of advice, is find your why and stick with it, and always set goals for yourself. Even if it's short term or long term, you have to have goals in order to progress in life. You can't just, wake up one day and, what am I going to do today? You have to have a goal, and a journal is a great way to keep down, write down your goals, have a calendar, a log, something, just to record how you're feeling in one moment and how it can change in the next.
Excellent. And Alana, I want to pose the same question to you. How have you been balancing both academics and athletics, outside, training a little bit is what we heard earlier on the call. How do you balance it? And what's one piece of advice to an incoming student athlete, either at the 2-year level or the 4-year level, in order to succeed?
The way I would say is, it's all about how bad you want it, how bad you want it, how much work you're willing to put in, how far you're willing to go. If you don't have, like Kaylee said, in order to progress in life, you need goals. Like, you need to set goals, short-term goals, long-term. I feel like every day, or at least every week, you should have either one or a few goals for the week. I feel like you should always have stuff planned out. And honestly, it's really about time management as a student athlete. It can get tough, but honestly, it's time management. You have to find the time for your athletics, your studies. Sometimes you have to sacrifice, and maybe I'm not going to go out this weekend. I'm not going to hang out with my friends, but it's all about how bad you want it. And you just have to keep that in the back of your head. Like, all the outside things, all the things that are temporary, you can do away with that for a little bit. Like, it's all about your future, how bad you want it.
Completely agree with you. It's good points. And Damian, I want to close it with you with the same question, but just from a different perspective. Obviously, as a head coach and an educator, what the student athletes are dealing with a lot right now, and they're looking to you for guidance. What is one piece of advice that you give these incoming students, your current students, and then your past students?
I would say during this time, don't give up, because life will go on. Things will get back to normal, and you don't want to be left behind. I would say also take advantage of this time to get better. Do those little things. This is time things if you felt like you had a disadvantage of something, one of your disadvantages or one of your weaknesses, work on that weakness and get it better. Make yourself stronger, get your ankles stronger or something. Maybe you had, hip strength was an issue. Maybe, back strength was an issue. Maybe you had some technical things. Work on those things. Same thing if in the classroom, work on those things that that you feel like you may be in weak in. Just work, and just show how do you overcome obstacles, because life is going to throw, a lot of, when you in the real world, life is going to throw a lot of obstacles at you, and the way you come out of this is going to show how strong you are and how you can still, get over your obstacles that's in front of you.
Perfect. Couldn't agree more. Again, thank you very much for joining me today. This is the 9th episode of the Dent Discussions with the women's track and field team, joined by head coach Damian Smith, student athlete and alumni Lana Wilson, and new Hep stud Kaylee. And I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name again, but thank you all three for joining me today. We appreciate student athletes like you that have the drive and dedication and represent high. So we're very thankful. And coach, we appreciate you, all your hard work. And I look forward to what women's track and field has in the near future.
Coach, I'm not going to call you coach, but Nico, we appreciate everything that you do for our program. You really highlight us. And I thank you for doing this. This is great. I like the DM discussions. These are awesome things. I also want to, before I go, because I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, I want to thank our support system. We have a big support system at Riverside City College. When you talk about on the academic side, I know we didn't really get into that too much, but Lauren and Lauren and Jackie, they do an awesome job. Like, make sure our kids are getting the right classes, make sure they, being able to move on, transfer. Cal Stewart, just making sure all the eligibility stuff is going. And now he's acting AD, and he has a really big passion for our student athletes, and he works really hard for them. And again, just like I said, yourself included, you do a wonderful job just making sure that our stuff is getting out there. And ever since you came, we getting RCC and I'm talking about all sports are getting a lot of, publicity out there. And we have some, and we're getting to show our coaches. We have a lot of great coaches at RCC. And so this platform is actually helping them, get some, I don't want to say recognition, but they need some recognition. It's showing our community what we have over here. And RCC is a great school academically. We're one of the schools. And then obviously our athletics are great.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, Damian. It's my pleasure. And when you keep winning, it makes my job easy. So I thank you for, the dedication and the continuous championship. So again, until we see each other again, face to face, stay safe. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Alana, good luck at your next stop. Kaylee, look forward to seeing what you're going to do this next year. And coach, hopefully I see you again soon.